What I'm going to share with you now might surprise some of you, and that is that I don't think I was always going to get to where I'm today in poker. And that is because I'm getting more and more aware of survivorship bias, and I want to tell you about what I've learned when it comes to this bias. If you're new to this channel, my name is Andreas Fröhlich, and I am a poker player from Switzerland, now living in Austria. I make videos about poker life, poker news, and poker strategy, so if you're interested into that, make sure to hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell to not miss a video here on this channel. Now let's talk about survivorship bias here. Survivorship bias is when you're basically looking at all the poker players and you're in the end just hearing from the success stories, from the people that have won the money in poker, while not looking at the people who lost money in poker. We're basically just looking at the positive side or the right end of the bell curve. I would just highly advise, if you want to know more about it, Google bell curve and survivorship bias and statistics and basically read about it, because it's very educating, especially also very important in poker. And I'm going to explain to you why that is in this video. I see three issues with survivorship bias in poker. And the first issue that I see is that we're basically celebrating the wrong plays that some players make. For example, let me take the story of Brynn Kenney winning, I think, $18 million in a $1 million tournament, and then telling everyone about how he put in half his net worth into that poker tournament. Not only is that bankroll management suicide and obviously not advisable, nor do I make a moral judgment on that. He can do whatever he wants. He's an adult. But the problem with it is then telling everyone about it, because then you will have people emulating that sort of bankroll management suicide tactic and trying to just go in heads up for rolls or whatever. And that is obviously terrible for some players, because it will ruin some people's financial situation. Just seeing Brynn Kenney succeeding, just not seeing through that survivorship bias, and then just going all in with their money. And yeah, you might say, okay, people are adults, but in the end, I don't think it was a good take on Brynn sharing this story with people in the way. I think he should have kept it for himself. Even though, admittedly, I do see that most people who would have been in his shoes would have basically said that the truth and that they were in it for half of their net worth. But I think in general, you don't want to tell that to people, not encourage more people to do that. But I do see that you're not likely to see it this way if you put in half your net worth to begin with. The second issue that I have with survivorship bias is that a lot of the people who have sun run in poker, or at least in a very short amount of time have sun run in poker, they will be able to sell some courses online that they otherwise wouldn't been able to. And they will not really likely admit that they have been running at the right end of the bell curve, and they might be maybe still winning players, but not in a position to teach poker. That is also very noticeable in my own experience, because look at it from the people who want to learn about poker. They're going to people who have had results. The most people care about is results. When people want coaching from me, they will mostly inquire about coaching when they have seen me win a tournament, which is totally foolish. And I will always take it with a grain of salt if I have such an inquiry, because I know that it's not really about the coaching. It's about that somebody wants what I've just gotten. They want the money. They want the same. They're not buying into the idea of hard work, of studying poker, but they're buying into the idea of just getting money. And money just doesn't come so easily in poker if you haven't put in some effort. I think a lot of people are downplaying the amount of effort that it takes to be successful at poker, unless you find a very soft table, a very soft game that many people don't care about money and just lose it to you, and there's a low rake, etc., etc. The third issue I have with survivorship bias is that we will accept some rake structures that are clearly unbeatable at some point for some types of players. For example, in microstakes, the skill set that a lot of players have at microstakes is not going to be enough to be making a large enough gap to overcome the rake on some poker sites. Like, yeah, obviously you can join poker sites like Run Once and pay a lot less rake and get up to 80% rake back, and basically the net rake is going to be so much lower that you have a chance to win to begin with. Or you can just see that you're needing to be so much better than your micro-stakes opponent because of the high rake. Now, because we still hear from players making it, maybe just the players who have been running 50 binds above EV, and they have then therefore been able to go up in limits, and then they could play higher stakes, right? And then eventually the rake would matter less, and maybe their skill also caught up to that level that they were playing on. But yeah, as long as we hear about those survivors, we will forget about all these failure stories and not see the big picture. So what am I trying to say with this video that you should do as an action step? You should definitely start reading on survivorship bias. As I have also in the last 2 years, I've been reading more and more about things that are related to poker, and that they have just helped me basically see poker as it is, or more so than it is, and it's helped my mindset tremendously in the last few years, and I think I've become a lot stronger as a player based on that. And just a few suggestions: read The Art of Thinking Clearly by Rolf Dobelli. Some biases in there that you should be learning about. And the other one is the book that I'm reading right now, that is Thinking Fast and Thinking Slow. That's also a very great book to be, that's about choices that people make and why they make it. Another name that I can drop here is Nassim Taleb, who has been making a lot of content and books about these matters as well. So I think that's like one take you should have. The other one is that you should be looking at a player, especially someone you would learn from, on whether that player has actually put in the work and understands and has a higher thought process about the game rather than just the playing results. Of course, the absence of results is also terrible. Like if somebody cannot show you that they have beaten a game that you would like to beat, you shouldn't hire that person as a coach or trying to learn from the person. The results clearly matter. And then another thing that I want to point out here is that don't let survivorship bias, just because you know about it, be an excuse for you why you're failing, right? Like, don't tell people that you're just running bad and that's all the reasons there are that you're not successful at poker. Many people will say that, it is possible to run bad forever. And yeah, in tournaments, it's possible for a very long time. But, there is another choice that you can make. You can play cash games. You can try to find softer games. You have always the alternative of a tournament, and then you can make some money there and prove your skill there. So if you cannot make it in tournaments, in cash games, in other forms than no-limit tournaments such as PLO and mixed games, if you're not winning anywhere, it's almost a proof that you're not good at poker, right? So don't let survivorship bias be an excuse on why you're not making it. Now, if you got value from this video, or if you think that somebody else that you know in poker might get value from this video, make sure to send this link. A person shared it with the video with people, and also drop the like from me because it's really important for the algorithm here on YouTube. And then I want to thank you for watching this video. I want to wish you a very nice new year, 2020. Going to be back soon with a new video. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.